Team, I'm just going to do a quick weekly breakdown for you. This would normally be the Monday morning breakdown. As you can hear, I've not been very well lately. I'm struggling a bit with my voice, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet and talk you through what I'm doing. Now, this week, I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm changing up my pairs and what I'm trading. We're starting a new challenge this week, and I'm doing a video series alongside my regular videos to show you that the way that I trade can be traded on any instrument, can be traded on any pair. And once you have a fully workable system, a tried and tested system that will work on these concepts, you can use it on any instrument, whether that be indices, commodities, or Forex pairs. Anything that you trade that has a chart, really, you can trade the way I trade on it. So I'm going to be running a challenge with my Forex funds alongside this. But very simply, I've completely changed up all my pairs other than Bitcoin, which is pretty consistent for me. I've completely swapped out my pairs. I'm trading Aussie yen, Aussie dollar, euro, pound, New Zealand dollar to the US dollar, gold, Bitcoin, and I'm adding in US 30. I see a lot of people trading the indices at the moment, so I'm going to get involved with that and see what we can find. The way I trade will be exactly the same. There'll be no changes. Obviously, I'm not used to how these pairs move, so it'll be interesting to see how it play out. I'm pretty confident that as long as I stick to my rules and trade how I normally would, then we shouldn't have any issues. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to my channel, like the video below, and also leave a comment for me. Every time you do this, it helps me massively with the growth of my channel. I really appreciate that, so thank you. Let's get into the weekly breakdown. Normally a Monday morning breakdown, but now it's technically a Tuesday morning breakdown. So we'll start with Aussie. We can see some pretty clear zones here. We've got this untested zone up here, which we're really close to, so we'll definitely be paying close attention to that. We also have this zone here, which is untested at the moment. Okay, so we'll pay close attention to that. Now, if you're wondering how I kind of frame my zones, there's no real kind of hard and fast rule around it. You could, for example, use just this last move here. So this candle, as you can see there, that down candle before the up move, you could use that. But all of this is untested and all of this has imbalance in. So some people will do this and then they'll mark off the imbalance like that. And they'll mark it as an imbalance. And that's absolutely fine if you want to do that. I personally don't think there's any point in doing that. Yes, it makes your charts look good, but for me, it's just a case of marking off the zone. So for me, I'm just going to mark off that zone, and that's it really. Okay. Same thing here. It's the untested area. So this actually is the move, as you can see, but it's the untested area. So technically, you could drag this all the way down to here, because this entire area above this, these liquidity pools, this is the zone, but it has been tagged there, so you want to be untested. That's where we've seen price come back to. That fits quite nicely with that down candle, sorry, that up candle there. So I'm happy to frame that off like that, and we're just going to wait and see how price reacts to here. Now, kind of higher time frame, what I'm looking at here is what is kind of going on. So we're in an uptrend clearly, but we've had this kind of slowing in momentum. Look, this is, to me, looking like we're setting up for a short. Now, does this mean we're going to hit here and then reject? Maybe. Does it mean we're going to sweep these highs before coming down? Again, maybe. So we have to kind of wait and see what's happening here. When we actually look at the pure kind of price action, okay, this is our range. So our range comes from here down to here, okay. It's clearly in an uptrend because we've broken that structure to the left. Okay. And sorry, that's our lower end of our range here. Okay. Clearly an uptrend because we've broken that structure. So, price could equally come all the way down to here before continuing higher. And that would be a good zone, to be fair. So we'll leave that one marked on as well. But, this is the 4-hour chart. That's a long, long way away. So we'll have to see what happens. This zone here, it's a weak zone. Reason why it's weak is because although we have had a push down, it's not broken any structures. So the structure that we're looking for breaks on is always to the left of the move. So what I mean by that is these are technically breaks of structure. They are technically breaks of structure, but they're structure that price has created itself, if that makes sense. As in, this is a push down, a push up, it's broken its own structure. It's a push up, it's broken its own structure. This is just noise. This is just noise in the middle of a higher time frame range. So you've got to be conscious of these things, guys, because really we don't want to be buying until we're down in here from a higher time frame perspective. Happy to look for sells from here, but whether or not this zone holds for sells is another question altogether. So that's kind of the higher time frame. This is now currently a weak zone. This, however, is a strong zone because this has broken structure to the left, as you can see there. Okay, so this is a zone that we could respect, and this could be, although this isn't in discount itself, this could be an area that we do actually look for buys from, because it has created its own structure on its own time frame. This has created its own structure. It's raided these lows here. It's raided these lows here. Okay, that's a raid, and it's broken that structure there. Okay, and we would class that as a major breaker structure on its own time frame. So it's something definitely to keep an eye on. How we trade this, how we get down to there is another question altogether. So I would strongly be looking for some sort of sell opportunity from in here. We'll have to see how this price develops. Although this is a weak zone and we do expect it to get blown, that doesn't mean that we won't do this first. Okay, there's no reason why that can't happen, and so we can take a trade on the way down. So those two zones are looking pretty good. I'll have that marked up, and we'll have a look at that as the trade develops. Aussie dollar. Let's have a quick look on that. So Aussie dollar, a bit mucky on the price action, but clear direction. So we've had this kind of big move down, a weak push up, kind of tested these highs. The expectation would obviously be that this downtrend would continue. So we are heavily bearish. Okay, the expectation is that this would happen. Okay, now how do we get there? Well, we have got, excuse me, we have got the market in line with us, as we can see at the moment. We've got this beautiful zone here. That is really, really clean. We like those ones all day long. Okay, we've got that beautiful zone there. Definitely be looking for that for sells from. How we get there, I'm not sure. We've also got these kind of clean zones down here as well, so that'd be worth keeping an eye on. We've got that one there. That's kind of a mid-range. Let's have a quick look. So let's draw out that range. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, so that is a mid-range. That's kind of a weak zone. You could mark that on as somewhere to take profits from. That wouldn't be something I'd be looking for trades from, that kind of mid-range. But there's so much liquidity underneath this, and there's so much more reason for price to come down to this area. Although that's a zone there, we could draw it out like that. So this is how I'd mark up my chart. This goes down as a weak zone, okay, because it's in the middle of a range. We've got our premium, our discount. In this range here, however, we've got a really nice premium area there. So definitely be looking at sells from there. That's kind of in line with our Aussie yen as well. How we get up there, let's see. I mean, there's no potential on that trade. Even if I took this trade from here, even if I took this trade from here to here, the maximum I'm going to get out of it is maybe 2R. I could drop down to a lower time frame, try and get a tighter entry. But, for me, my bias is sell. So why am I going to buy into that? The potential of the trade is really, really low. So it's pointless. Okay, I'm not going to look at that. I'm just very simply going to be looking at this higher time frame zone. Maybe even want to refine that zone to something like that. That's a clear now. That's really clear now. We've got, set an alert on there. As soon as price gets into that zone, then we are good to go. Looking for sells on the Aussie dollar. Excuse me. So euro pound, I've already started marking this one up. Again, very, very similar story. Higher time frame bias is sell. Okay, very clearly in a downtrend. Okay, we've got some really, really clean price action. This I'm actually going to mark out now as red, because we've got some really clean price action. We are well within. Look at this move. Look at that manipulation move. That is a raid of all of that. All of that's been taken out on the way up. Okay, we've had our final push up, before our impulsive push down with imbalances left behind. That is, you know, as clean as it gets, really, guys. Let me just zoom out and see what's going on higher time frame. Yeah, so very clearly we've shifted structure. Look at the higher time frame move. That's an exchange, a big old exchange there from buyers into sellers. Okay, we'd love to see that. And now we've got this beautiful zone that we're looking at. For me now, because we're already in zone, I'm going to be looking at 50% retracement on that. So 50% is 85628. So that's just set just slightly below, set an alert there. And let's see what happens here. Let's see if we get into that 50%, and then I'll be looking at sells on that all day long. So that's just a case of waiting for entry. So we'll move that one there. Okay, New Zealand dollar. Again, similar sort of story here. So we're in a higher time frame downtrend. This is a weak zone. I'd already started looking at it, as you can see. This is a weak zone. Okay, the bias is heavily bearish. Okay, look at that move, down, down. And then we've had this push down here. Now, we would expect price to continue down. Let's see where we are, premium discount wise. We have tagged premium. Okay, so this is perfectly valid now for a continuation down to the sell side. We therefore expect this zone to be broken. Okay, it's very similar to what we had on the pound and the euro. The pound and the euro last. Yeah, the pound dollar and the euro dollar last week. Let's have a look at this range. This is our range. We've got a lovely zone there in premium, and that is a clean order block or clean tradable zone, however you want to call it. Okay, yes, we've got a better trade up to this high. You get a 3R out of it, but again, the potential is a maximum of, let's say, even the tags the right at the top end, it's a maximum of 3R. Why do you want to get into that sort of trade? You know, be patient for the big move. Everything is heavily bearish. It's so tempting just to be in the market all the time, but the market is really heavily bearish, and we're in this weak zone. So wait for price to get up here, set yourself an alert, and take the better trade. Because how many losses are you going to take on the way here? What if price does this? You know, or does something like this, which it could easily do, because the counter trend moves are a lot more choppy. What we want to do is we want to be in line with the higher time frame moves. And what's more likely to happen when price gets here is it's more likely to have an extreme reaction drop. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at on New Zealand dollar. Gold. Excuse me, guys, sorry. So gold. I'm going to clear this chart, okay, just so we can have a proper look at it. So on gold, we are in a downtrend. Okay, we've got to here so far, but we are clearly in a downtrend. Okay, that's our kind of our higher time frame move, and it's something like this. Okay, so we've been making those moves. Now this range hasn't yet been tested. Okay, so price has the very real potential of coming up here. However, we did very clearly, by the looks of it, reject this clean supply area. So this supply area here has been rejected very clearly. Okay, now this zone here originated this move up, but it didn't break the structural high. So this gets then marked as a weak zone, and we now expect that zone to be swept. Okay, what we're seeing on here, well, again, very similar to the other dollar pairs, we've got this lovely clean zone here in line with the higher time frame. We're going to mark that up as a clean zone. We've got lovely breaker structure. Look, that's a major breaker structure there. Okay, and then we're just waiting for entries in this zone. So a lot of the dollar pairs are in very similar positions, and what we can do in this instance is we can just take the ones that look the cleanest. Okay, you know, stacking these things in our favor puts us in such a strong position in the marketplace. Yeah, that's a premium zone as well, just in the premium area, so that's fine. We're happy to take it. As you can see, it doesn't always have to be perfectly in premium. Okay, you know, this range here wasn't in premium, but this supply zone was good enough. So, you know, if you're not sure about, you know, I wouldn't have been sure about trading this zone, definitely not. I wouldn't have taken a trade in here. I would have, however, been sure of this sort of move, and then I could have got in somewhere on the way down. So, you know, premium discount is, you know, sometimes it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but what does have to be perfect is your kind of your market bias and stacking these time frames in your favor and in your, you know, stacking the time frames together. So very clearly on sell on this time frame. Okay, very clearly on a sell on this time frame. So we've had this move down, breaking structure, and then we've had, you know, major structural breaks down there as well. Okay, so you can see that's very clearly. And then when price gets into here, okay, when price gets into this zone, because this market on the 15-minute now is in an uptrend, look, okay, we've had a major break of structure to the uptrend. So this is only a buy bias at the moment. Okay, yes, again, you could wait for price to come down to say here, you know, let's say this is our premium, our discount. You could let price come down to here and then buy up to there, and you might get a half decent trade. But again, I ask you the question, what is the potential of this trade? Well, the potential, even if you get the tightest of entry, is, to be fair, not bad, a 5-to-1. Okay, it's not a terrible trade. However, that's the highest it can go. And for me, I want a much higher potential than that. What I want to be looking at doing is something like this happening, a clear exchanging of hands, okay, in this marketplace, and then a big push down. I want my potentials to be much bigger than a 5R. I want, when I look at my trades, I want to be able to see something like this. Okay, I want to take a trade like this. I want to hold it down to the low. And as a minimum target, I'm looking at 10R. But then if I break that low and go further, I'm looking at 15. So the potential outcome of your trade is really, really important, guys. And that's what we're going to be looking for. Not just high probability, because a trade from here to here might be high probability. Arguably, a trade from here to here is much higher probability, but they're both high probability trades because of the trends that they're on. Ultimately, we want both high probability and high potential, okay, because the outcome of the trade, we want to be high as well. Okay, so similar on gold, I'm waiting for this area to be tagged, and we're going to see what happens when we get there. Okay, so let's hide all our drawings for now, because I've got a bit of analysis to do on this yet. Let's just hide everything. Okay, so clear downtrend on Bitcoin. We've got quite messy price action, but there is an entry in here. That's just 2 seconds, guys. Let me just hide all this stuff. Okay, let's get all this hidden. Hide. And then hide that. Okay, so yeah, so again, it's similar to the other dollar pairs. We're in a downtrend. We've had these kind of major breaks of structure to the low side. Look, beautiful there. Okay, so we're now firmly in a downtrend. If we zoom out and we look at our ranges, okay, we're on the way to clear out that daily low by the looks of it. And so we're just going to wait for a trade when we get into here. Okay, that is now just an entry zone that we're looking for. Pretty self-explanatory. A lot of the dollars doing the same thing. Okay, yeah, beautiful zone. Look at that. Really, really clear. You could refine that maybe to up there or something, but I'm happy to look at the entire zone. We've got good reason for price to come up because that imbalance, really, really simple on that one as well. We're just waiting for that re-entry. Now, this is a bit new for me. Okay, US 30. Let's see what we're looking at. Now, I'm going to trade this exactly how I would trade anything. Okay, I'm going to be looking for the higher time frame trends. Okay, mark out our daily highs and our daily lows. So we've got our range highs and our range lows. So we've got range high there, and we've got a range low there. Okay, so we are now looking in a really good position, to be fair, to be looking for sells from. Okay, we are firmly in this higher time frame area. We have, however, broken this structural point, so that is something to be wary of. We've broken that structural point to the left. That is a major break of structure. So we do want to be wary of that. Let's just mark that as a major break of structure. What we could have is we could have a move back into this area here. So it's definitely not worth ignoring that. But equally, on the trend that we're on at the moment, we are in a downtrend. And these moves are very impulsive. So what we might get is a move down to somewhere like this. Okay. And that would then be a valid zone. So unlike the other dollar pairs, where these zones below have been weak, this zone is actually strong because this broke that structure to the left. So we've got a bit of a framework on this, and we'll definitely be paying attention to that. Set an alert here, and we'll set an alert there. Okay, we'll probably see it on the way up, the way down, but let's just see where we end up. All right, so thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment below, and catch you guys soon.